Morning, everybody. Welcome to our cookbook for October. And one thing that we implemented really heavy this year into our team was around client and agent events. And so we're excited to go over that with you today. Just a quick for anybody that is watching that doesn't know who I am. So my name is Siri. I am the owner of the brand out in San Diego, and we run a really awesome team out here. I think we're at like 45, 50 agents. And we like to have fun and work hard. Right, Mike? Ashley? All the
Right.
career. That's right.
I confirm.
Yes, we do.
So Beth, I'll hand it over to you as
My
well.
I'm yeah, if you haven't heard before or been part of Team Cookbook, my name is Beth Nordowney. I'm located in the state of Minnesota, run a similar sized team, and I'm here to add my 2 cents and also I always love hearing what the brand is doing in San Diego about client events and team agent events.
Us right into Jacqueline. So here's Jacqueline. So Jacqueline is
Hello.
there she is, event director. And so what we did was last year we sat down. It was around this time of it, maybe it was November. I think our goal was to kind of push it forward a little bit and look at next year a little sooner. But what we did is we sat down next year or last year for this year, and we mapped out like what do we want the year to look like. And so in years past, we've done a lot of different events and different things, but it was very reactionary, and we'd probably only look like a month or two forward. And so we really wanted to just have a game plan. And so that's what we really want to share along with whatever Jacqueline has, that she's done a great job this year. And you'll see some of the visuals of what we've done too, for 2024 and looking beyond. So also quick side note before we get started, for some of you that have been following us and have seen Liv, our marketing director, just had her baby yesterday. So she had a
Oh,
little baby. Yeah,
yay.
yeah, baby Charlie.
Baby
So,
Charlie,
Cute.
so
Cute.
cute.
which is, I'm actually thrilled because side weird little crazy Siri note, my computer's always been named, my laptop's been named Charlie, and it's been the cutest name to me. So Liv and I had this little moment of like, hey, so I don't know if she did it for me. I haven't talked to her yet, but I was like, you've got to name the baby Charlie. So I'm kind
Oh
of
my
pumped.
goodness. So happy
Uh,
for her.
yeah.
That's
So,
exciting.
so Jacqueline, I'll hand it over to you and kind of, keep it a collaborative process if you need us for anything too.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, so like Siri was saying, this year we thought about this year last year. And so step one is definitely planning ahead, but I think it would be important to talk about why events are good for personal and professional success and why it makes sense for agents and why it makes sense for agents to do them for clients. And I think on the next slide, um, kind of go over some key points. Maybe one more, sorry. Um, yeah, there we go. So the key kind of components that I really like to think about when I'm thinking about any event that we do is it going to help build relationships, helping clients connect on a personal level with their agent, having strength in that will help you with your referrals, which obviously, especially in, I know in my business, but I know in real estate as well, referrals is really big. Word of mouth is really big. And so I think when you can connect with people in a fun, laid back environment, maybe over doing a project or activity or just dancing, right? It can help people feel like they know you better. And then there's a sense of loyalty to that. And then they want to tell their friends and their family about you. And then you go right back to that, more leads, more referrals, which is great. And then for overall, a brokerage brand awareness is really big with events. You're going to see that with your pre, during and post marketing. Mike, who's on here, knows a lot about what goes into that because we're very visual, right? And social media. And so doing all your reels, your videos, promoting your event before, being active on social media during the event, and then of course the follow up afterwards is really big because it gets your name out there and it makes your business look fun, right? And if we can make work fun, we are succeeding. So I really like that aspect of doing events. And then, of course, a really great thing that we can do, especially like we do the beach cleanup every year for the brand. And I love that because everyone likes that sense of they're a part of something bigger and that they're doing something that can maybe impact their whole community, city. And so doing events that give back a little bit, like a beach cleanup, is a really great idea. And also, again, that kind of comes back to brand awareness, relationship building, all that good stuff. And then ultimately, tapped on a little bit at the beginning of this slide, but making connections, getting agents in front of potential clients, industry professionals, other community businesses. It's just the more people you're reaching, and this is a great way to do that, the more likely you're to sell. So that's kind of like a brief summary on why we would start the conversation of, hey, what events are we doing next year? And then it's keeping what maybe I'll kind of tie a little bit to like a core value of why you're doing your events, like in the back of your mind as you're coming up with your ideas for what you're going to pull together. I hope that's making sense for everybody so far. Is there anything that you want to add to that, Siri or Beth? Or
I guess I kind of wanted to speak on this particular one right here, which Ashley, you're in the chat here and you're on, but this was a big one for us that I've actually seen the team. I mean, we've had a few others. The bowling was a lot of fun too. I would say this was a really big event where people were collaborate like eight. So this was an agent event, just saying. And so we rented a space. Yeah, it was the favorite. We rented a large space at the Padre, even though Brittany's in Dodgers, but that was a whole other story there for her. I know. And it was cool because the agents were all like taking the trains down together. It was a massive collaboration day of community for our agents. I will say that this one was a high cost. So, use that sparingly to your budget, which we'll get into how to budget. But I will say something like this at least once a year for your team is just crazy impactful. So this was a highlight for sure.
Yeah, the Padres game was really, really great. Yeah, Siri's not wrong. Actually, it caused a lot of communication that day over Slack and text message and helping people find the spot and then coming together and really having food, having drink, watching a ball game, cheering each other on, cheering the team on. Like it really was a morale lifter for sure. And what's great about that is you take that energy into your job tomorrow. Maybe you get a little bit of fire and you're even up late at night, crafting what you're going to do because it just starts to spark that creative side of the brain, which is really, really great. Some other events, I feel like we'll just talk a little bit about what we did. Like Siri mentioned that we did the bowling event, which I think is fun because it puts the agents in a competitive atmosphere. But while it's competitive, they're still cheering each other on. And I think that's really, really important to remember that we can compete, but also be rooting for each other at the same time, because the ultimate goal is team camaraderie and like working together and realizing that we we're as good as the person like you're as bad as the weak link, but there doesn't have like I'm stumbling, but the point is basically that um the more that we cheer each other on, the better everybody does. And so it's basically being in that environment without actually, being in the real estate environment. It sort of like bleeds into the other thing, if that makes sense.
Well,
Um,
I will talk on that too, because Jacqueline, we've done a lot of events. So we have a large office. Like we
yeah.
have a big warehouse style office, which is great. Like tomorrow for our mega team meeting, which we do once a month in the office, we're going to have food. A lot of the agents come in. It's a great gathering space, and we've had some other events that Jacqueline's helped us put on for trainings in the past there. But what I found is to get out and away from the office is actually, it creates a better just environment and feeling for our agents to feel like they're not just always at the work mindset. Because you have to remove yourself from that. Because sometimes I feel like the office can still give us that vibe of, okay, we're all here together working. Whereas when we do these offsite events, it takes them away from that mindset. The beach cleanup is great, and not everybody that's going to watch this is lives by a beach, right? So it doesn't necessarily have to be a beach, but some sort of a community service spot, because there's really not a lot of overhead for that. You you show up at the beach, and I know, Jacqueline, you probably know more of the back ends on it, but there's not a lot of overhead for something like that, and you're cleaning up, you're giving back. The community sees you, so they see our banner right at the beach. They see our sign and their banner and stuff. But that was a really great one there, which I don't know if you're going to go into more, but just again, speaking on these events and how we can roll them out and some ideas.
Yeah, I think we have more pictures on the next slide. And yeah, the beach cleanup is a really great example because being out in the community, there were a lot of easy conversation starters, a lot of people that came up like, who are you? What is this? The brand? And then there were actually some people there that showed up that just happened to be there that day. They were like, I know you guys. I bought my, fill in the blank. And so it's like brand awareness, right? And starting communications. And so yeah, that one was really, really great. And everybody had so much fun too. Even being early in the morning, there wasn't anyone there that wasn't smiling and having a good time while cleaning up trash. So it was a really great day. And then we also did a really fun event for client appreciation that's a great option. It sold out within a few hours. So there was a lot of interest in it, and it was a full theater. And they came. I gave out favors to the kids that were to the theme of the movie, which was Kung Fu Panda. So it was a lot of like happy energy and a really nice client appreciation event. So that one might be a really good one to repeat next year. I don't know, Siri came to that and brought her family, which was really great. Oh, and then we had cookies with our logo on them. So there's another way that you can kind of have your brand awareness go home with your clients. So lots of fun ways to accomplish that.
Yeah, the clients really enjoyed that one. And we learned, because I know there's other teams that have done the movie night, and so we kind of grabbed that one. But we've as you go, you're going to learn a few things. But we have learned that one sells out really fast. And so, how do we? So what we'll be planning is, how do we take a look at, if we choose to do that one again next year? How do we stagger that one, or do we get a couple of theaters, or what do we do there? Because that one was a big that one was a big one that worked well.
Well, and I think when you're paying attention to what sells out and the energy at the event, you can decide there what you're going to repeat, what you might not do again, and what maybe you'll put more of your budget to. Like movie is really popular, so do we make that bigger? Do we make it more dynamic event? Do we invest in, like, we have a red carpet, we have extra photographers, like, you know what I mean? Like you kind of can figure out like, okay, so this is my whole budget. And like Siri said, the Padres game was obviously a bigger budget one, and we know that's really successful. So you probably will be willing to put the budget towards that, but maybe you're going to throw a little extra over here to movie night and a little less over here. But it's paying attention to those details, and it helps you figure out where the money should go, if that makes sense. Another really great thing that we're doing that's not a lot of overhead, which can be really nice, is sort of client appreciation on social media. It's really big to do giveaways. And so we definitely did three, I feel like it was four, but it's definitely three giveaways on social media. We did a Mother's Day love away and a Father's Day one, and then a back to school. And so we sent out an email, client appreciation, and we want to give back to you, and had people tag us on social media and nominate a mom. And then, like you would do a drawing for like a raffle, they would win a prize. And so we did a gift card to the Lula Bar in Carlsbad, and then a golf gift card for dad, and then a back to school backpack that had like a bunch of different back to school items, pens, pencils, papers, the big cup, with the little stopper, keeping it fun. But this is a really great way, again, for brand awareness and client appreciation, because you have your name popping up on lots of different avenues and different people. And I know that with those giveaways, we actually captured new audience, which can be really important. Obviously, again, back to brand awareness. So those are really, easy is not the right word, but I would say low overhead and not too much of our time. And yet it has a big impact in terms of your marketing, which is, really great, because the goal obviously is to get out there, meet new leads, and hopefully get more business back. So those are really great ones to do. I would definitely plan for your next year to, I would say 3, maybe 4 in a year is a great amount to do as far as the social media giveaways.
And
When you guys do your
the goal.
giveaways, oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
When you guys do your giveaways, what's the like criteria for, is it just resharing on socials, or what do you usually have for the?
So this year it was follow us, obviously, so that we can see you too. Follow, share on your story, comment, either like with the back to school, it was I love back to school and the brand realty. And then with the Father's Day, Mother's Day, it was nominate a rad dad or nominate a mom that's just been killing it. And we'll put them in a drawing to win this gift card. So it was a lot of like in our comment section, in our stories, and then on their stories, and also gaining new followers.
I like the nomination. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also it's something for your agents to be able to share out and to show, that they're a part of a give back, that the company is helping to take off of their plate and to give to them to, to look very active and to help share. So it's another value add as a team, running a team for your agents.
Actually, if it's cool, I'm going to touch on too. Another thing that we do that I should have made a slide about, so apologies in advance, is the agents do pop buys or drop buys where we prepare like gift baskets, or for Valentine's Day, we did a rose and a craving cookie. And so the agents can go and give those out to their clients or potential clients. And that's also a really great, like very personal thing to do. And so that might be something that people would want to put into their next year event plan. Maybe it coincides with, in this case, like a fall gift basket. Maybe it's a Halloween pumpkin carving kit. Maybe it's Christmas basket. Maybe it's a Valentine's Day thing, but you get the point. Sometimes those smaller, more personal, sort of agent really involved participation wise events are also really good, because I think it's nice to have those personal touches, and it sets you apart from anyone who say is not doing that. And it's not happening, but it's far less in my experience that people are really taking the time out of their day to do a face to face with their people after the transactions happened, if that makes sense. And so I think maybe we're ready to get into like just the key ingredients for how to even start to think about what you want to do. And I definitely think now, if not sooner, is a great time to start laying out your whole year. And I know that can sound daunting, but really, when you think of it in terms of what are the seasons, what are the holidays, and how many events do I want to do in a year, I think that can really dial that anxiety of like, how do I plan a whole year at once? And then from there, you probably have too many ideas, and you can kind of actually shrink that down to what's reasonable for you. Is it 4 events in a year? Is it 8? You get the idea. And then from there, you figure out what you want your budget to be. And then you're going to allot from that budget like we talked about earlier, where, okay, I know I'm going to need this amount for a Padres game. So this smaller event's going to have to be this, and so on and so forth with budget. A really great thing that you should do is also get sponsorships. And if you can get them all at the beginning of the year, have their commitment, that will really help you to potentially add to some events or just take the stress off of your own pocket. And it should be people that make sense in the community as far as community partners. It can be anybody that would be involved in the escrow process, if that makes sense, mortgage, pest control, even like the whole spectrum there, that you might not think of, but there's a lot that you could potentially reach out to that also want brand awareness. And so you're helping them do that. And that's really, really valuable. They're getting a lot from doing that and having their name pop up on your stuff. So sponsorships would be great. And then put your save the dates together, send them out, commit and follow through, and then promote, and really get your team to participate. And by that, it's like, are they sharing? Are they showing up? And that's key, right? Because it's energy, and events just require a lot of energy, a lot of looking like it's fun, looking like it's rejuvenating. If we're excited about it, they'll be excited about it. They will come. If you build it, they will come, right? So that's what that all boils down to.
One thing I would say here, just, lesson learned, right? Like we're learning as we're going with this is I know, Jacqueline, you spoke about sponsorships, which really the goal is to have your sponsors help to cover most of these costs. You really should be, because you're the front line
Yeah.
that's helping to get this out. And so one of the things that I know we're going to be working on for 2025 is, taking a look at getting some of those funds maybe even up front, so that when we look at this budget for the year, we're really dialed in and solid on what we have. Because one thing that did happen to us this year is we did have a fairly large sponsor half of the year just pull out, and that's just going to be transparent of what happened. And so I think just lesson learned, and if I could share forward, is to collect most of that or all of that up front, because then through the year you can commit to those dates and set that. One of the other things we did at the first of the year too is we put it all in a save the date. So in January we put together a save the date. We had each month with what we were doing because we had it all mapped out, and we sent that out to our clients. So we mailed that out. We actually mailed it out to them, and then we also posted so that people knew kind of what that projection was for the year and shared it with the agents. So that's a couple
And then you
notes.
guys are
Just
great too, because you also have your events website.
yes, yeah, we have an actual website for that that shares what we're doing and where it's coming from. Internally for a team, we have just to kind of speak on how do we push this out to our team. Is on our Thursday meetings that we have, we'll have slides reminding the agents of what's coming up. And we also have a Slack. We use Slack, so whatever you use to share material with your team, but we use Slack, and we have an events channel. And so Jacqueline does a great job of putting that on the events channel, reminding them. And remember, these are agents that need reminders often. So it's got to be in front of them often, because their brain is, and it should be on selling homes, working with clients. So events doesn't always just click for them to push this stuff out, but we have to continually put this in front of them so that they know what's going on. I think that was one other thing at the beginning of the year that we realized too, is that we thought that the agents knew what was going on with these events, and they didn't know what exactly was coming up. And again, their brain is in real estate with their clients. And so we had to then turn it up to push it in front of them more. So I don't know if, like Mike, Ashley, if you guys have anything to speak on that, but did you notice or any kind of feedback on how to push that out and get it in front of you guys more?
No, I think Jacqueline does a really good job at putting it on the Slack channels and Instagram and just messaging us. And I think it's easier for me to see because I'm typically, required or asked by you to shoot, the content for it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think she does a great job. Just keep doing what she's doing.
Well, I think too, when I sit and if I put my feet in realtor shoes, I feel like for them, they probably feel like they're at an event or doing like they're out and about career wise, like they've got open houses and other networking things outside of their own team. And I think it can maybe feel a little bit like, do I have to go to another thing? Like, but I think I'm just having a thought, but maybe one thing that we could do as part of that pre-planning for the year before is in a good amount of time ahead of time, like maybe now, we actually just give it to them a little bit like, hey, do you have any events you want to see next year? And obviously we can't please everybody, that's just life, but maybe when it's kind of like when you have a paid event, when you have a little skin in the game, you're more likely to show up. And maybe if it's some of their feedback dives into the event, maybe they would feel really energized in terms of being able to participate and wanting to share that more. I don't know if that makes sense. It's just kind of a thought having in this little discussion that we're doing right
I
now.
like that. I mean, I love transparency and I love collaboration.
Well, and I know I
love,
really tried to like listen to you guys because I would ask at events like, hey, what'd you think? Or what did you like about this one? Or what would you want to see differently? And I do hear you and put that down in my ideas thing. So I think that they have a lot to say about it actually. So it might be worthwhile to take a minute to just even survey like, hey guys, what do you want to see next year? Now's your chance to, put a little info for us so that we can hopefully like do something that you'd really like to do.
yeah, for sure. And just to add on, like with Mike here, so the cool thing about what we have on our team, and not everybody's going to have this, but we do, thankfully, is we have like Mike and Jen are agents on the team who also do photography and videography. And so how fun is that that we actually have our own like agents there that's what they do, so they already know everybody, and Mike's usually the one, right, running around
Yeah, he is.
with the
And
camera.
just full shout out to him too, because we talk a lot about energy with events, and he is so good about bringing out people, bringing out the best, and bringing out their like, I don't know, their little whatever their inner side joy animal is. Like Mike really pulls that out of people, and it makes for amazing videos. And so, big shout out to him for being that cool.
Yeah, that's a really fun thing that our team has. And again, you may or may not have that, but just kind of a like thinking point is look within your own team at the talents that your agents have, because a lot of them are not just doing real estate. A lot of them have outside talents that they enjoy doing those things. It gives them a little extra income. They show up, they already know everybody. And so, just take a look at who you have in there. You may have people that you don't even know do those things. And so, ask and look from
That's
within.
really, really good advice, Siri. Because yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like we're all little business owners, and as you guys know, you have to develop skills sometimes that are technically outside of what your primary thing is. But yeah, you should ask around. You probably have some skills you're not using.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, I don't know what the next slide is. Okay. I was like, I can't remember.
I was gonna say the skills. I went to go find something because last year it'll kind of be a segue into the business planning thing, which is what I'm currently working on too. But we did like a skills market. Do you remember that? Brenna, were you there? No, you weren't there. You weren't there. Okay, so we did. Okay, here it is. So I got those cards, those workshop cards. Has anyone get served these on Instagram? They're like workshop tactics. So this one's called Skills Market, and it's a great thing to do as a group of agents. But you tell everybody that they're in the market and you set up a stall to buy their skills. And on a large piece of paper, you have like the current skills they have that allow them to do their job, the hidden skills they have that you might know that I have, and desired things you want to learn. But we went around and everybody kind of had their skills. And the biggest ones that were crazy were the hidden skills, like the you might know that I have. And like
Mhm.
one of them was like he loves to do car karaoke with people and drive around. And it was crazy. Like when you talk
Like
about
random
learning
stuff you learn about people,
from
right?
people, like you said, like,
Yeah.
oh, you know what? I taught circus performers and I taught people how to trapeze. And you're like, what? I had no idea you did that. Like people on your team or like Mike, like, right. Like, I know that's an open skill that he has, like a current skill, but just like to your point is kind of even having a fun team meeting event of discovering those skills. Cause it's wild what you don't even know someone next to you can do, you know?
Right.
That also
Yeah.
gave us the idea to then kind of use that as social media. We could show off our like random skills of each agent, which is just a kind of just a fun
That's
look.
fun. That's the stuff that grabs people, right? It's the unexpected that really, grabs people, which I like to your point, Brenna, like marketing wise, is you share that out. Like fun fact stuff about
Mm-hmm.
your agents. That's an idea to grab. Yeah,
And that was a super fun one.
I like it.
You guys have anything else before I chat a little or anything else,
I
Jacqueline? See you want to say?
No,
I
other than I guess like side note too, another thing I would do on the Slack, sometimes it's just put in motivation on Slack, but also for events, I would do little blurbs about how it improves team bond and team build. Like I would actually put that in with the event, like just little like reminders of like why, like back to those kind of core values of an event. I would kind of throw one or two of those in, and then by the way, here's an event coming up, just to kind of again motivate and refresh them on like why we do this, you know. I don't know if
Yeah,
that
you
makes
do a great
sense.
job. No, you do a great job of just getting all the hype going. So, and here's another point, and then we'll kind of wrap it and let you have the stage there, Beth. But again, we it's been an evolution of us bringing in somebody like Jacqueline to help with it. Before that, it was a lot of the, just kind of the operational team that we had, and then we decided to invest in having someone like Jacqueline take over. I will say, me personally, as a team leader, it's always great, and thank you, Jacqueline, to show up to an event and then to leave the event and not have that extra on my plate too as a team leader. But again, you may not be able to start with this. It's probably going to be you very, very involved, lots of hours. You do have to, as a team leader, create the vision of what you want and then, let them create from there because that's what you're bringing them on for. But I will say it's been really great for me to be able to be involved when I needed to be, but really Jacqueline took a lot of it. But that was an evolution. So I just want to say that's something that you typically lead up into and have that off of your plate. And so we really appreciate having you this year. It's been a fun year. It's not over yet. We still have some things.
Mm-mm.
I think one of the things that's really cool about us doing this, Siri and I, is, running comparable teams, that there's a lot of things that are similar. We run really close, and then there's some differences, which I think is cool to be able to see, like highlight how I guess the point is that there's always no right answer, right? I mean, every team leader, however they do it, is what they decide to do. So my experience with events is that I always loved client events. Like I grew a lot of my career because of it. I had quarterly events I loved to do, um, like each quarter, and I'd come up with different stuff, and they're pretty elaborate and pretty great. And people wanted to come and they had to refer when I was a top producing agent. And so a lot of what you did as an agent is kind of what translates into your team. And I wanted to do that for the team. And, I just found that like sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't because people didn't want to do what I wanted to do. We didn't share the same idea of what an event would be. And so I think our evolution has been, me trying to replicate what we did, us having a committee and trying to do events, us trying to have other agents do events. And it's been this whole thing that's come back to where we currently stand is we do one event as a team and we do it really well, and that's it. because, you know, every time we would get into something, like we were doing, like at one point we had agents, like there was someone in the Twin Cities, because I'm in different locations doing this vertical endeavors, and she did like a rock climbing event that was really good. We had a movie event, we had Sips for Santa, we had a shrimp boil in the summer with a band, we had, I mean, all this stuff, and it just got to be like, you know, because then every time we would think it was great, half the team would complain, like, oh, I didn't really want to do that. I want to do a barbecue. So finally, one year, I was just like, that's it. Fine, done. We all agree that we like pie event. And we'll talk, but I mean, I know Brennan's on the second slide, and that's fine. But like, that's the one event that we're going to do as a group. And outside of that, we are here to help you plan your event or what's right for you. But like, we're not going to do anything else like client wise. So I would say our big focus for agents, one of the big things that we do every year, you can go back, Brenna, sorry, I'll take it back now, is like our agent business planning. So this is something that I personally, one of, I guess, my gifts or whatever is just being a crazy planner. And I used to plan a lot, but I really believe in the power of, I don't care if they ever look at it again, but just that intention. And we talked about it yesterday at team meeting. And even one of the agents says, yeah, even when I read it down, I never look at it. It's interesting because I go back and read it, and I actually did accomplish a lot of what I did. So for agents, probably the biggest event that we do is a business planning day. And it's a full day event. And we typically, you know, have breakfast breakfast in the morning. We have lunch catered in. We do in the afternoon, we have like a snack bar, but really what it's about is just taking that day to step out of your business, take a moment and plan for the next year ahead. And Brenna, and this has even been such an iteration, because this book, Brenna, I think the first time you did it, was it 30 some pages?
It was a little over 30 pages. Yeah. And then we last year just like simplified it, cut it down. It's at like 12 now.
12. Because what we learned is, again, when you have a team and you've got people from, you know, I've been in the business 12 years, I've been in the business less than 1 year. There's like a 12-page thing that we all have in common. So I think that that's something that definitely people look forward to every year, and always has been good feedback. And so kind of like what you guys were saying, you find what's a hit, like the Padres game, and you go for it, and that becomes your thing. You can go to the next one. The next slide. So a couple other things for agents, like this is where then it varies, like we have different locations. So there's a couple locations that did like a barbecue this summer at someone's house, and just it did a potluck style, or have everyone come over with kids. And one thing that's always really crazy about that is like you see your team every day, but you don't see their spouses and the children, or, you know, just girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever. And just to see how many people are part of like your life, or, you know, affected by kind of what we all do every day. It's kind of mind blowing. This year we started like a women's breakfast, so like a quarterly breakfast at someone's house, just to get together for girl talk, and you know, just things that are probably unique to being female in the business, and just having breakfast together. Every year we've done this in one location too. We are one part of the team is in a medical community where there's medical residents that match in March, and it's always kind of a triggering event for our spring market. So we get together and just talk about what the financing options are that year for medical professionals, you know, what houses are available, and just kind of kick off like what is going to be the start of like the busy season. And that's something that people always enjoy. Just having breakfast is pretty simple. Some happy hours, and then always doing a holiday party. And the holiday party, like I'm sure you guys said, some of the team events, you know, we've done when it was smaller, we went out and had dinner and caravaned and rented a bus and had an appetizer somewhere and dinner somewhere and drinks somewhere and dessert somewhere. We've rented out Dave and Buster's and invited kids and had everybody come. And it's a lot of money too, right? I mean, or depending on when you start getting 50 people plus kids or spouses, or bring somebody a plus one, you know, it's like 100+ people. But I think that one is not found like the consistent, like this is what we're gonna do. I don't know about you guys, have you found something, or do you do anything just during holidays or at all, like more summer Padre?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a moving target on that
Yeah.
one. I think this year we're planning on having something out, but
I don't think we have it completely nailed down quite yet on that one.
That's the toughest thing about these events, right? Because last summer we had this great idea about like pets, and we got some local dog shelters to come, and we did like at a brewery. And yeah, some are a hit and some aren't. You just, right, you find those ones that really work, and those are the ones you continue, and then it's kind of outside from there. You really have to have the commitment of agents or engagement, and you get to know your clients. So Jacqueline, kind of like to what you were saying, is like really kind of doing it around your brand as well. So for clients, like I said, the only thing that we do is we do the pie night. That's been consistent for many, many years, and it's a big hit. And there's Sips for Santa too, but the pie night is one that we have. And that's been crazy because when we started, when you have somebody who wants to bake 25 pies for you, but when it starts to be 200-300 pies, finding like someone who can handle that capacity right before Thanksgiving is crazy. But like right before Thanksgiving, there's a Hainish bakery that the pies are 2.5 pounds. So again, it's not Costco. We don't do it cheap, because if I'm going to do one event, people aren't going to drive to go pick up an $8 or $12 Costco pie. So they're kind of like a specialty pie in Minnesota, that we set them up in different locations, and either they can stop in the office, or we've done it like a drive-through, like just come through like with your car, load up your trunk, and have people go through, say hi to them, hand them a pie, wish them happy Thanksgiving. And that's been a consistent, like pretty, low key, easy event, high impact. And then Brenna, I don't know if you want to talk about even with that, like social media that goes with that pie event too.
So real quick, it's funny because during COVID for the pie event,
That's why. Yeah.
so that's when it started, but it actually worked out good because we have like a warehouse style, right? So we have a back like where we can open it. And so our branding around it was called Drive By, Grab a Pie, Say Hi, or something like that. But it was
That's
like,
awesome.
right? And it was this fun, like catchy thing. And we had a lot of people just show up. They didn't have to get out of their car. It was so easy for them. They were out and about anyways, and they just would drive through. We had little arrows pointing them through, and they would just drive through, grab a pie, and anyways, it works. It was fun.
It is
I'll say
fun.
ours is probably a little different because it had to be below zero, I think. At the day we did it, it's
Yeah, I guess that
so
would be
cold, but
different.
even though it's a client event, it kind of turned into, for me, it was like a team bonding event because we were all just suffering
Hand
together.
warmers, hot
We
beverages.
Standing
were all
outside,
like having to
agents, like,
hug to stay
decorate their
warm.
trunks like sometimes, and we were all just completely freezing. But yeah, it's fun. And then we did we made some stickers to put on the pie with a QR code, and that's when we did a giveaway. I think we did it for like 2 TVs, but the giveaway was to post the most creative picture with the pie was kind of like the contest we wanted it to be. And there were funny ones. I think some people did like had their elf on a shelf with it, and people just did like clever, funny things.
That's a
And that
good,
was
extra
fun.
marketing. I like that.
And we shared
Yeah.
that. So that was fun.
Yeah. So it's been, I think it just is one thing that's great is like, parts that work, like you said. So we ended up in trunks and in drive-through style because of COVID. This year, for the first year, because last year we were so tired of being so cold for like 3 hours outside, that we're going to move half of it inside where people have to come in and get their pie in the office, and we can be inside where it's warm and hang out, and then have like a 1 hour, hour and a half, like drive-through style. One thing with the events that we found success with, I've had it be one person's burden, is like trying to form some committees, and that's been positive and negative too. Like we've had agents and trying to have some committees, and let's plan it together. You take this piece, you take that piece, just to try to get more buy-in, right? A lot of it is just having agent engagement and having all of that be part of it. So I think that still is something that we like to do, is in that when we've got it so planned out. Then that's what's great about when you have consistency in the events, is like, it just is like you pull out the plan and you're like, great, here's what we need to do. Here's when we need the pies. Here's who we call. And it just becomes a lot more simple than some of the ones that you start from scratch. For the community, again, we run really similarly. We do like Feed My Starving Children, which is just a fun team bonding event to go and just get back to the community, same as you guys said, take pictures. But I'll pack meals for kids. We donate money a lot. And then the Jeremiah Project is something here in town. I just got the email yesterday where they help single working moms, 2 generations at a time. Super passionate about what they're doing. And they have their shopping list, right? Where you can go out and they have their kids' Christmas lists and just go shopping for kids, and just partnering with that group as well has been amazing. And then, like I said earlier, our kind of shift is more, what we've had a better luck doing is like the agents who are passionate about events, letting them come up with what they want to do, their vision, and then Brenna meeting with them and helping them project manage it and helping with marketing around it. And I don't know if you want to say anything to that, Brenna, too, but just instead giving the agents, and a lot of times they'll pair up because they're similar interests, similar values, or what they envision a great client event would be.
Yeah, I think one thing we've learned with kind of moving away from so many events is moving, yeah, like you said, with the committees. And we learned with agents, if one person like knows what they own with the event, like kind of have those point people, then they're more bought in. And I feel like we've seen that, then they kind of encourage the other agents to also come. Like you were saying, Jacqueline, you just got to keep reminding. So having some agents be like just own part of it and know that it makes it more successful, and they want to encourage more people to go. But for the individual things, yeah, we'll have, if someone has an idea, they can reach out to marketing if they want like an invite made or just kind of some help planning. We have a doc we make them fill out, and we work with them just to figure out budget, what their ROI is going to be. Yeah, we've had some fun ones. One of our agents, Noel, did something kind of similar, a lower scale, like a baseball thing that was fun. I know we had one of our agents, Brad, he wanted to make a regular like brewery meetup. It was like beers with Brad or brews with Brad or something. So we like helped him design like a social media graphic. So we'll help them like where it is best fit for them for what they need. And yeah, like budget depends. Our time depends on it, but yeah, we kind of just cater to really what the end goal is, but it works out. It's been working out, I think.
And that's something that when we talk about planning the year, completely agree with you ahead of time. And so our business planning will be October 15th. Try to have them all finalized for 2025 by December 1st. And in part of that planning is, what do you want to do next year for events, or if you want to do them for your people? And so it's not that like things don't come up. Like I think Marcia and Noel's baseball event kind of came up out of nowhere. So obviously you have those where you have an opportunity or to partner with someone, and as a agent, you decide to do an event, but also trying to have planning behind it and having some advanced notice and thinking about what you want to do way ahead of time so that it can be more of a success. So very similar as usual, slight differences, right? Do you guys anything?
Questions?
I know, questions, any thoughts?
Questions?
I know. I think most of the audience is probably live stream too, so we've got kind of the agents on here from the team, but I guess kind of maybe amongst each other. I First of all, can I get a copy of the business plan that you guys have? That'd be great because
See, for you, I will give it to
thank
you.
you.
Typically, yeah.
Um, I'll say that's not really a strength of mine. My strength is more kind of in these like visual, like, fun when it comes to like spreadsheets and those kind of plannings. It's not really kind of where my brain enjoys a
You
lot
can
of
just
that.
fly me
So
out for a day and I'll just do it for all your agents and take them
I
all through a
know.
day of business planning. No, I will. It's been a long process. That all came from Tom Ferry, always was Mr. Business Plan, right? And I coached with him for a number of years. We did an all-day event one year in August. I don't even know if it's 2012, 2013, I don't know. But I have so many iterations of that business planning book that since then I worked through, taking the best of like kind of all the things I've seen and try to combine it. And this 12-page book is probably I don't know if it's as bare bones, it could even be less. Like Sharon's is a 1-page, right?
That's actually the one that we've been following. Is we've been
How's
doing
that worked?
Sean's. It's worked good. I mean, last year we had Brenda go over and do that, and she really put everybody in a good mindset and followed it. And then what we do is we put it into Sisu, and then they have their kind of numbers that are tracking.
Yeah, we put it into FUB, but yeah.
Yeah, you got to put that just to know kind of where you're tracking against your goals. And so I think we'll probably follow something similar, but I would love to just see what you guys have there too, because I'm always, just really wanting to see what everybody's gotten and make it our own, which I think also kind of goes into what we're talking about today with events. Because again, like what you were saying too, is you have to make it what works for you. And the thing is this is a moving target every single year. Things change every year, right? Like we were even talking about COVID came, so now we were changing how we were doing something because of that, right? And I just I think it's good to have an outline that you follow. I think it's great for events to have kind of like our beach cleanup. We will do that every year. Like that's a no-brainer. We're going to do that every year. It's just kind of like what we become known for doing certain things. But I love how you guys have transitioned into, like, one thing I learned was having the agents, if they're doing their events, how do you support them? And as opposed to just doing everything for them. So maybe that's, a consideration of a blend. I will say a lot of agents have a lot of ideas. Implementation is typically not always a strong suit. And so, and this is not bad, right? It's just they're good at what they do out in the field. They should be. But so just ringing them in to say, hey, yeah, we can support you by doing X. And you have to have clear, probably like Brennan, you said, like a checklist of here's what I will support you in, because otherwise you'll end up doing a lot more than you should. And if they want to take that on, how do you support them? That is one idea that I've heard from you guys today that I think is pretty cool if agents will do that.
Yeah, it works really well. And it not only holds them accountable, but also it holds us accountable. So it's kind of like that doc we can all look back on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Two things I'll say on it too is like, that way I'm always, for the most part, able to say yes to everything. Like, yes, and I just need you to come up with a plan of like what you're doing. And it's a 1-page doc, and it's amazing how many people then they never do it. And then I just know how bought in they are. And so it's like, if you can't do a 1-page form, it basically just says, what do you want to do? And what would you like to accomplish from this? Then like, it is not like some comprehensive, it's not a spreadsheet, it's nothing crazy. And then the other thing is tying it into commission, where if anything that comes from the event, or if they want it to be a team lead, because now if it's my money and their money, then I'm investing in their business, but then we're going to split revenue. If they want to have it, then there's an agent generated deal, but then it's their cost, right? And that's been huge too. And then people don't care, because it's like, if they want the help and support, then maybe they don't mind paying for it because they believe in themselves and they believe in what they're doing, and they know they're going to get business from it, and then they get that extra income, and then it's a win-win, right? I mean, and that's a good thing too. Change.
I say one thing that we've moved away from this year is really getting to what we're trying to do is less is more, as far as like, is that from the team? Is it not? Like, it's just too many emotional factors involved. And so we are, trying to get away and just be very clear on this is how our business is run. And we're actually backtracking and taking things out. And it's been refreshing. And, so for us, it would be just kind of thinking out loud. It would be, we can make some graphics. We can give you, a little bit of like pre-planning support, but really it's yours. It's all yours. That's probably how we would run that. And we did have a culture committee, and we still kind of somewhat have it. It's funny, I was on with one of our agents this morning talking to her, and she goes, she said something about the culture committee. And I know we have the culture committee that was doing some things for a little while, and then we got Jacqueline to come in. But that was kind of a fun, where we get the agents to help out and feel like they're part of something. So that might be something that we take a look at next year, is just how do we organize and sprinkle them in a little bit more specifically to roles of how they do it and what they do. So We've had karaoke's at the office. I know Rich does his fight nights now and then. And that's not agents fighting, that's actually watching the UFC fights. But there's different things that, that the agents will do and take on. So,
Awesome. Well,
yeah,
next month
so
is business planning. So next month is kind of like you talked about that, but again, I know we run, well, I run the way that we do for a purpose, like so early, because it just is like wrangling all the agents and giving time and just breaking it down to bite-sized pieces. We start in October to get it done by December 31st.
I heard you say that, Beth, and I was like, dang, because Keely just asked me yesterday. She's like, when are we going to do it? And I'm all, the first week of December. But that's my brain.
So I'm gonna.
But we'll
speak on that
go
next
ahead.
month. Yeah, that is like
We'll be starting event planning this month, though.
Yeah. Yep. So we've got it broken down. Like I've did it I've got it down to such a system where there's videos that go out with it, and here's what needs to be done by October 7th, 8th, this before the day. And it's okay though, because I really feel like everything is so overwhelming in the world that we live in. It's just breaking it down into like manageable bite-sized pieces that we get to the goal. It just is going to take time, but I'm excited to share that next month from a team lead perspective too, and just kind of taking agents through that process of making a plan.
I'm gonna learn from you. Yeah, I'm gonna learn and then do it. And my agents know this. I'm so organized, right? Like I'm just an organized person, very clean, tidy. But I have these little kind of quirky things where I'm like, just go sell homes, like, right? Like, isn't that what we say every Thursday? I'm like, guys, don't get wrapped up in all this stuff. At the end of the day, go sell homes.
Yeah. And that is true. Like that's what I was talking about yesterday. That really is a good sentiment, because there is that is an okay version. If you have the drive, and if you have the not distraction, and you've got the hunger inside you, you will do it. But that sometimes is, that's why even for someone like, right, I'm sure you could agree that even for someone like yourself, because there's a lot of agents that are like that, if you took one day, and I'm not saying you, I know, but because you do it anyways, but if you took a day and you kind of planned it out and you never looked at it again, it's in here, it's in your unconscious, it's operating and it's driving like all that you do. So I still think just taking a moment, taking a step back, especially now more than ever, is a good thing to reflect. So, okay, well,
So I think we should end because it's 11.
Yep,
on one
11.
thing, and then we can't wait to see everybody next month. Mike, what do you always say? What's your saying?
Make moves, not excuses.
There you go.
I love it.
Thanks for having me, ladies.
Thanks.
All right, thanks for being on, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jacqueline.
Bye.
Bye.
Jacqueline's dope.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
dope. So embarrassing.